And a very, very warm welcome at our first ever interaction or event or a program which PhD is doing to award the most consumer friendly state. This is our first program which we are going to do year on year because we think it's a very noble concept because without consumers there is no business. The Honorable Minister may join us later because we all know Parliament is on and we all know how Parliament in India works. Shri Bijon Mishra, a founder, Consumer Online Foundation and award presentation, plus the chairman of PhD's Task Force on Consumer Affairs and Public Health. Justice Shri Arijit Pasayat, former Judge Supreme Court and chair of the jury of the awards which we are going to give today. Madam and Ambassador to the United States, Mrs. Meera Shankarji, Shri P.P. Srivastavji, ladies and gentlemen. PhD Chamber is extremely proud to be associated with the celebrations of the world's consumers' right as a co-organizer along with Consumer Online Foundation and the Quality Control of India. In one way or the other, we all human beings, right from the birth of humanity, have been consumers. From the obvious necessities we purchase daily to how we connect with the world or how we travel to and from work, we consume goods, services every day in every part of our lives. As consumer, it is our right, it is our birthright to get access to safe goods, quality services, and to be treated justly, fairly, and offered quick and effective solutions in case our rights are violated. The consumer rights go beyond negotiating for the best price for a good or service which is below the printed MRP. This is more than just making sure you get a good deal on your new car you buy. It's about our right to access the basic things we need like food and potable water, housing, furniture, clothing, medical treatment, medicines, transportation, and the list can be endless. It's basically about making sure that the new gadget which we have bought, let's say today, has the features that were actually displayed or mentioned during the time of sale and is safe to use. In today's time of IoT and big data analysis, the consumer is not cheated by companies by selling their personal details. It is also important that the government has a system whereby consumers can complain and fight for their rights. Fortunately, India has a network of national and state level consumer dispute tribunals, courts, and commissions for arbitration and adjudication, but unfortunately, pendency. I must tell you, this is very interesting because I also find this out yesterday while surfing the net. The celebration of the World Consumer Rights Day on 15th March every year. Why is it? Does anybody know? I came to read that the former US President John F. Kennedy first outlined a vision of consumer rights in a special message to Congress on 15th of March 1962. And that day is now celebrated as the World's Consumer Right Day. Over time, the consumer movement developed this into a broader vision of consumer rights and needs. India is one of the countries in the world which has a full-fledged consumer affairs ministry to legislate and regulate the industry and service providers to ensure the protection of the consumer's rights. We also have several NGOs, such as Consumer Online Foundation, that keep the government and the industry alike on their toes to ensure violation of consumer rights are avoided to the maximum. Consumer grievance registration and redressal mechanism is in place. There is a check on misleading advertisements, misleading claims, and in a more positive way to encourage debate amongst relevant stakeholders on the rights of a consumer and to motivate the industry to adopt measures that are consumer centric, like having a return refund and exchange policies in place, adherence of the same. Such measures are important for consumers, but even more important for the manufacturers and the service providers, as this builds the consumer's trust in the goods and brands and promotes business. To conclude now, as part of the celebration today, we at PhD are going to recognize some of the states who have endeavored to streamline their processes and undertake reforms to be more consumer-centric and transparent. Our chairman of the task force, Mr. Bijon Mishra, will be explaining in detail as to how we have identified these consumer-friendly states. And I would also like to take this opportunity to thank and congratulate Mr. Bijon Mishra that he took this initiative on his own on behalf of PhD, and now it will be a PhD event year on year. And I'm also grateful at last to the QCI, which is mandated to set process for accreditation, certification, and standards for various services. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.